Hey guys, welcome to Fierce's Guide to Becoming a Better Player. Today we're going to learn how to play a high level support. It's important that you've already practiced my Furion and Sand King guides many times, as the game knowledge and habits that you've picked up from those games are very important to playing a good support. Also watch my guide on jungling and pulling creeps, as we're going to use that knowledge in this video. Playing a high level support is probably the hardest role in the game, but don't let this discourage you, as it starts out pretty simple. Right after the picks are done and you spawn at your fountain, one support should buy chicken and another support should buy wards. But sometimes you're gonna end up buying both. If your team picked 5 carries, I feel bad for you, son. Now you should go check the rune spots with your lane partner. It's dangerous to go by yourself, as most times the enemy will also be doing the same thing. It might be ideal to take the rune now and attempt to get first blood, or you can save it for the mid lane hero if it's a regen. Checking the rune before the game starts is very important, as most of the runes can lead to a first blood. If your team does not get the rune, at least inform your teammates of what rune it is and who got it. Alright, now that the rune has spawned, it's time to place your wards. Place one ward to cover one of the rune spots. Use the last ward to block the enemy's pulling camp. There are several places where you can put the ward. If you're confident you're not going to get counter warded, you can place it at the same place the Sven placed the ward. You can also place it right next to the fire altar, and it will give vision of one of the common ganking routes, as well as blocking the camp. If for some reason you think that you're going to get counter warded, you can try and hide the ward inside the trees. On the radiant side, you can place the ward right here. This ward is good if the enemy team has a jungling hero. And this is the vision that you should see. If you want to be tricky, you can place the ward right here. You have to be standing right next to the tree to place this ward. You won't be able to see much with this ward, but hopefully it won't get counter warded. Another good ward to place when you're on the dire side is right here. It will give vision of one of the common ganking routes, as well as giving vision of the rune. Now that the wards have been placed, there are many things that you can do. If you're against a solo hero, you can zone the enemy away from experience and gold. If for some reason your pull is not blocked, then you can go pull the creeps. If you pull the creeps, then you have to get the last hits, as you should not be taking last hits from your lane partner. You can also help your ally last hit. Ranged creeps require 2 hits from the tower and 2 hero hits. Sometimes your ally will be unable to get the last hits. During that time, you better get every last hit, or else your solo mid will give up first blood. The moment you get 200 gold, you should upgrade the courier into a flying courier. Now that the courier has been upgraded, buy a TP scroll as soon as possible. As your team's support player, you must be providing support for your team. That means you have to be there to help your allies survive ganks and to assist your allies in getting hero kills. Somehow my ally Sand King finds himself in a 4 vs 2 situation. I immediately teleport to help him out. As soon as I get there, I heal the Sand King and I target the lowest hit point enemy hero. After some nice teamwork, we managed to grab first blood, and I still managed to save our Sand King. This will be one of the most important tasks all game. You have to provide TP support for your teammates. Make sure you're always holding onto a TP scroll at all points in the game. So it's getting close to 6 minutes into the game and your wards are about to expire. Buy a new set of wards. But more importantly, you have to place them in some good spots. This spot over here is very good at spotting the rune. It kind of shows the tower and it also shows the ancients. This spot right here is my favorite ward spot on the map. It shows multiple ganking routes as well as showing the rune spot and a little bit of the Roshan area. As well as observer wards, you should buy a sentry ward to counter ward the enemy team's wards. It's actually better to place a sentry ward right over here, as it will cover 4 of the ward spots. This is the most important area to counter ward, solely because of Roshan. Let me ask you something, have you gone ganking yet? You need to shut down the enemy carry hero and gank him many times throughout the game. The more times you successfully gank him, the better your chances of winning are. Notice the immediate TP support, but he was too late. So let me ask you another question, how many times have you checked the rune? Would you look at that? He checks the warded rune spot and sees that the rune isn't there, so he goes to the correct rune spot. This is one of the many reasons you buy wards. Remember that the rune spawns every 2 minutes at one of the rune spots. As I said earlier in this video, most of the time, runes can lead to kills. If you control the runes, you control the game. Anyways, in this clip, Wesley does something very nice. He sees that the enemy blow their stuns, so he teleports out. Remember how I told you should always carry a teleport scroll? This is one of the many reasons why. It will save your life. Another one of the many burdens that support players must do is buying true sight, whether it's sentry wards or dust of appearance. Here's a third question for you. Have you utilized Smoke of Deceit yet? Smoke of Deceit tricks the enemy into having a false sense of security. You can go through warded areas without showing up on the minimap, and high-level players are always looking at the minimap. Check out the dancing going on regarding positioning. The two main supports slow down and let the Tiny go ahead of them. The Tiny is a higher level, has more hit points, has stronger nukes, and therefore should lead the gank. Smoke has the potential to turn a game around, so if you're losing, smoke up. But it can be used at any point of the game. Notice how the Venomancer has used up all his spells and has very little hit points and mana left. He backs off and relies on his teammates to secure the remaining kills. Here's a game between It's Gosu and Complexity. It's typical for the hard support hero to have around 1 CS per minute. So then you might ask, where am I supposed to get my gold? You're going to get the majority of your gold by pushing towers and getting assists. Also note that both these players have the most assists for their team. The key to playing great support is to contribute as much as you can without dying. Let's go over some positioning exercises, as correct positioning is probably the hardest part about Dota. We managed to pick off the Lion, and all 5 dire heroes are bottom. There are 3 Radiant heroes hugging the tower, which would make it a 3 vs 5, a very favorable situation for us. The Enigma has full mana and a stun, so he leads with Malefice. Suddenly he's not leading anymore. The Omni Knight is standing in front of the Enigma and the Vengeful Spirit. Do you think this positioning is favorable to you? Think about why or why not. Dota is a logic-based game and you must make intelligent decisions to win. As things can happen very quickly, you're going to have to make these decisions for yourself. Watch this team fight and think to yourself, what should happen? And then watch it again and ask yourself, what could have been done better? You can't get better at this game without reviewing your play. One thing I haven't really discussed yet is that as a support hero, you're going to be the easiest hero to kill on your team. This still doesn't give you permission to feed. Every one of your deaths count. Too many times I hear people say, oh look at me, I bought wards all game, this game isn't my fault, but then he's something like 2 and 13. Well, have you ever thought that if you didn't die 13 times this game could be different? This doesn't mean that you should just sit in the fountain and buy wards every 6 minutes. You have to contribute to the team fights as much as you can. You can't be afraid of dying, but you can't also be feeding. As you now know, you have to be doing many different things when you play support. Not only do you have to do the things gone over in this video, you have to do even more. You have to rally your team for ganks. You have to keep track of the enemy heroes and alert your teammates of incoming ganks. You have to provide a safe environment for your carry to farm. You're going to be constantly looking all around the map because of this. This will mean you'll always have the big picture in mind, so more than likely you're going to be calling most of the shots. Walking this fine line can be very challenging, and naturally you'll see the captain of the team or best player playing this role. As always, thank you for watching. This is Fierce. Don't forget to commend your support players for good play. Good luck and have fun.
You weren't so damn dead, I'd shoot you again.